So if I'm looking at a gene pool, and I agree evolution would be defined as change in allele frequency over time, obviously in populations, not individuals are evolving, but populations are evolving, but populations are made of individuals. From what I see with mutations, obviously mutations are permanent changes in the DNA strand. And virtually all these observed mutations, you can safely put them in the category of loss of information and not a gain of function. So I would say that new information would have to be existing information that wasn't there before. Because if I have information, say, in a dog population, okay, you're going to get a bigger dog, you're going to get a small dog, thick fur, thin fur. At the end of the day, there's going to be incredible variation in that gene pool. Change in allele frequency, you're going to get a whole variety of dogs, and we see that with artificial selection.
And sorry, you said that that's a loss of information, though.
So a loss of information. So if you're looking at mutations in general, what we do see is genetic entropy. We're seeing information degradation. So obviously we're not going to get rich by losing money.
Sorry, what do you mean degradation? Like, can you give me an example of what you mean by degradation?
Sure. So for example, let's say a beetle. Okay, if I know there's a certain environment where winged beetles lost their wings. And now it's beneficial, okay? So it's a mutation that's beneficial because now the beetle's not going to get blown out by the wind. But at the end of the day, there's no new information because that beetle lost the information for wings. So that's not an uphill change. That's not a gain of function. And all known examples of mutations and natural selection acting on the mutation, because natural selection is a selection process. If you take the example of the dogs, okay, change in allele frequency over time, all you want, you're going to get a dog. I mean, you're going to get, I would agree, a wolf, a coyote, a fox, a domestic dog, they all probably share a common ancestor, and it was a dog. As Ken Hovind would say, dogs produce dogs. At the end of the day, if you go, deep into the genetic information system, it's because that information is limited to that dog gene pool. You're not going to get anything other than a dog. And I know dogs don't turn into cats, dogs don't turn into whales. But at some point, there must have been some big change. And if these animals, if there's no new information, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but do you believe the dog we see today came from a non-dog, a population of non-dogs, say millions of years ago? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Well, and where's the evidence for that? If we see dogs producing dogs, but you're saying a dog today came from a non-dog, long ago and far away, millions of years ago, how is that observational science? Because I need to see the new information. All I see is a variation of dogs. I see no new information.
Okay, so I guess first off, the idea that because you did listen there for a quick second, that because I believe that the population of what we call dogs nowadays came from something that wasn't a population of dogs, that somehow in the future it's going to cease to be a population of dogs as well, and there's going to be something else. Well, that's not the case. It's a population of dogs now. It's always going to be a population of dogs.
But you did say they came from a non-dog.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but that's a fundamental point, is that you never stop being what you were, but new stuff does get added onto it. So new stuff.
The law of monophyly. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Okay. So to say that, I don't believe that I'm ever going to see a population of dogs become a population of non-dogs. It's always going to be a population of dogs. So it might change. There might be drastic anatomical features that might change within that population, but there's still going to be a subset of dogs.
Is it because they're bringing forth after their kind? The law of monophyly? Is that why?
Well, that's actually just the law of evolution. I mean, that's just biological diversity. Like that's not coming after their own kind. That's just what we observe in nature.
And I would say it depends on your definition of evolution. I don't believe that is an example of, say, molecules to man evolution, fish to fisherman evolution. That's just an example of change in allele frequency.
We're talking about, if we're talking about biological evolution, we're only talking about the best explanation for the diversity of life. We're not talking about molecules to man. To get to molecules to what we would talk as like the first life out there has
abiogenesis. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
that has nothing to do with evolution at all.
Well, you need that to have the coherent theory.
Right.
You need the life to start the allele frequency.
You need that, but there's no model that you can build to explain the diversity of life using evolution. Okay, that will also explain how the first life arose. Those are completely two different models, two different subjects of study.
Okay, well, what's the observable mechanism that adds new novel information to the genome then? Because if we started off as
first off, I mean, in that case,
there's a gene duplication. I mean, that's usually the answer I get. Is that what you're going to get to?
Well, I mean, so when we talk about the like new novel information, there's a couple different ways that we do see this. Is that yeah, like gene duplication is one of them. Gene mutations, these things happen, and the information on what you get at the end result is different than what you had at the beginning. So that's a change in information.
Okay, but it's not a change in you know, it's not an uphill change in information.
Well, no, that's what you're saying. But who says that it has to be an uphill change in information?
Well, because
evolution isn't. You're not like you don't. There's no guarantee that every single change that you're going to be having in evolution is going to make you more, super powered. That you're going to be better, stronger, anything like that. What passes on in evolution has to rely on solely on the ability, the creature's ability to survive. Sometimes the successful populations within the successful populations, the animals that breed, the animals that pass on traits, might be animals that are smaller, faster than that. In that case, they might not be bigger, stronger, or anything like that.
Okay.
So those ones could be the ones that survive. So there's whether you want to say that it's an uphill battle for information, or there's an uphill gain of some sort. Well, that's not a representation of what what evolution is. There's a change in if you don't consider gene duplication or any type of mutation a novel change of information, then there's really no definition of information that you can use that would actually work there.
Well, because that type of evolution, large scale evolution, it's just not true. That's why no evolutionist can give you an answer. Because think about this, okay? Long hair versus short hair.
Didn't I just give you an answer? Like what can I give you an answer for that I didn't just say?
Well, because you're not giving me an answer. You're not giving me an observable mechanism that adds new genetic information. Because the thing is, let me just finish my thought here.
Are you asking for new anatomical features or new genetic information?
Obviously, new anatomical features aren't just going to pop out of existence. I understand that's not how it works. But over time, change in allele frequency in populations over time, it's going to have to at some point give rise to new anatomical, features. Because
over time,
the population of dogs,
long period of time,
and there you go. So that's when you jump from empirical science into your religion. Because I would say it's a religion, because at the end of the day, you can't, what we see is dogs produce dogs. We know that. You say a dog today came from a dog, long ago and far away. Now you've left science and you've gone into your religion, because we don't see that. That is not part of empirical science. For example, let's take long hair versus short hair, change in dominant color, other variations. These are not evolutionary changes, but they're really just reshuffling of genes, okay?
But is that new information? If a new color is formed in a species of animal that wasn't there before, and that new color is beneficial to their survival, is that not new information?
No, it's not new information, because it's...
How is that not new information? How is it
a variation of pre-existing information? That information was already there.
But that color never existed within before within the population.
But the thing is, okay, so you want to say a different color of hair. If you actually look, that is based totally on a reshuffling of the genes that's in the existing gene pool.
Which would be